What's going on, guys? Welcome to a new series of episode reviews for season 2 of Kaiju number 8. This is episode 1, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade. There was also like a special episode that came out that actually originally released alongside with the compilation movie, which was basically an adaptation, or I guess sort of either an adaptation or just like a special promotion for the what was it, the Hoshina spinoff manga. But it's basically just a filler episode, so it's not really important.
Yeah, I mean, just I guess quickly, like it just mainly focuses not only on Hoshina but all the other Defense Force members as well, with the exception of Kafka. He makes no appearance in this special episode. It's just basically
what wasn't he like at the very
everybody
beginning of the episode though? Like he was in a dorm or
but
something.
He doesn't really.
Um,
Yeah, it's like he doesn't make an appearance like throughout this entirety.
Yeah,
throughout the entirety of.
I mean, it's not really consistent with what's happening in the main plot anyway, considering Kafka is still locked up.
Yeah, he's like at the beginning of season 2, he's still incarcerated. Yeah. Just due to the fact that everybody knows that he's Kaiju number 8 now, and they're still figuring out what to do with him. But yeah, the Hoshina's Day Off, it was an okay episode. I mean, I don't know, like it would have fit better if like it would have been, a part of season 1, but I'm not sure like why, they just decided to just release it like in between seasons. Maybe just, I don't know. I didn't really feel like it was really all that necessary, but it's kind of like sort of like a fun addition of sorts.
Yeah.
But yeah, season 2, we follow up on everybody else. It seems like everybody else got reassigned to different divisions. Reno is, I think he got reassigned somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's Osaka. Kikoro Shinomiya got reassigned. I think she said the first division, and we also get introduced to. I think I think his name is Gen Narumi, and we pretty much already get an idea of like who this guy is. I mean, he's just basically just like almost kind of a shut-in like otaku kind of guy, sitting in his room just playing video games, and then has a collection of like all these like Gundam spoof like action figures, whatever they are.
Yeah. I guess this guy's sort of like an L-like character where he's just kind of like a very eccentric person, but he's actually just like, I guess, really competent, which it seems to be the case. Also, like, so, yeah, aside from that, we also get caught up with, well, what's going on with Kafka as well, that he's still locked up. And I kind of figured, like, at first I thought it was a flashback, but the season starts off with, at first, what seemed to be a flashback, but it's just a nightmare that Kafka is having of him being surrounded by the Kaiju Defense Force and being taken out by them as Kaiju number 8, and then he grows to like Kaiju size. I'm wondering if it could be like just a nightmare, or if it may be some kind of, maybe almost like a foreshadowing of something that may happen later. But yeah, it's, I mean, as soon as like all that stuff started to happen, I figured it was just, it was just a nightmare he was having.
Well, if you remember back at the end of the last season, we saw like when Kafka was fighting against Shinomiya's father, like they literally just went all out to the point where Kafka is like, well, his Kaiju side just literally just took control over his human side. And
yeah,
it seemed like he grew more powerful, but more uncontrollable.
Yeah, it does seem like there is some foreshadowing as to something that might happen later with him losing control, because Shinomiya's father does meet with him later, and he kind of says the same thing, where he says like, he gets reassigned to Division 1. But her father says, like, if you lose control, then we will have to, like, essentially, like, we'll have to stop you, or do something. So I'm guessing, yeah, that the nightmare, it's a nightmare, but it also could potentially be just, like I said, foreshadowing of like something that might happen later.
and in terms of like, well, kaiju battles, we pretty much do get one. It's
Oh
against.
yeah.
Uh, I wouldn't say it's
I mean,
Godzilla. It's like a
yeah,
Godzilla look-alike.
it's essentially, yeah. I mean, it looks almost exactly like Godzilla, aside from a few certain differences. But the I was also like really, I don't know what they were thinking with the sound effect it makes, because it literally just sounds like an elephant, like instead of like a roar.
Uh, I don't know if it has something to do with maybe copyright
I don't
issues
know, but I feel like
or
they
if it's
could have
still
done something. I mean, that at least sounded like a roar, not because it literally just, like I said, it sounded like an elephant.
Yeah, I mean, but unfortunately, the fight itself just doesn't really last all
It's
that long
mostly
because
just there to
Gen,
show off. Uh,
yeah, it's like Gen just basically just one shots this entire thing and just immediately kills it. Which is a little bit disappointing considering the fact that I would say this is like one of their largest kaiju that they had in the show. I think there was a couple others, but I think this is like one of the biggest ones
mm,
that they've shown, and then it immediately gets dispatched like right like in one shot.
yeah.
Now, but like back during season one, and like you know, um, I was hoping that there would be some kind of Godzilla crossover just due to how prominent kaijus are. But I guess this is kind of as close as a Godzilla crossover that we could get. I mean, even though it's technically not Godzilla, I mean,
Yeah,
it came very
I mean, it's
close
pretty
to it.
obvious that it's pretty much supposed to be Godzilla, but they just couldn't technically, I guess, get the rights to actually have Godzilla show up in the show.
Yeah, I mean, everything about the design. I mean, other than like it's a obvious color palette
Yeah,
swap. It's just like the overall design of the this creature is just almost exact copy and paste from the from the original Godzilla.
yeah, um, yeah. So basically, like, and we also kind of cut back to what was it we see what happened with I guess the base that mostly got destroyed near the end of season one. I guess they're like in the process of rebuilding it. Um,
Yeah, I think it was Ashiro and
yeah,
Oshina that they're like that are like being assigned to renovating the area again after the I think it was like Kaiju number 10 that they were fighting, and then and of course Kafka was the one who ended up saving them at the last minute from like I would say it was more of a self-destruct mechanism or like a kamikaze type attack that this Kaiju was going to attempt before uh, Kafka fortunately stopped it in
yeah,
time. So, but yeah, overall, I mean, this episode, like, there wasn't much else. Like, we don't really get to see like what happened to the other Kaiju. I think it was Kaiju number 9, which is like, it's obviously the main antagonist of the series, but we don't. He doesn't make an appearance in this on this episode, unfortunately. It's just mostly this episode is just catching us up on like some of the main characters and where they are at the moment. What they're gonna end up doing with Kafka, which now he's gonna be working alongside Gen Narumi, and of course he's gonna be working with Shinomiya again.
mhm,
With the exception, like he's not gonna be working with his old pals like Reno, or he's not gonna be working with uh, Mina or Hoshina, like he was hoping to. But yeah, I mean, it's possible that we will get to see these characters again. I guess later down the road. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to this episode other than like the notable Godzilla lookalike in this episode. But yeah, it's just mainly just catching us up on like what happened after season one.
yeah, yeah. That, and there was also like an after credit scene with I guess sort of maybe teasing the next what might happen in the next episode, where there's basically it pretty much is just another kaiju attack of people being evacuated from the city, but we don't actually see like what's going like what kaiju is attacking. Um, but
It just basically just creates a giant
yeah,
sinkhole somewhere in the city.
uh,
But it just cuts out before
yeah, it
that.
was a pretty decent episode with sort of just like you said, yeah, catching us up on what's going on with each of the characters, and especially like what is going to be done with Kafka, because they said, they were going to discuss what they're going to do with him, and I'm not really surprised. They're basically just keeping an eye on him and making sure that they can keep him under control. And he's pretty much just being reassigned to Division 1 because of his potential as being like someone who can transform into a kaiju.
Yeah, it's and plus like it's obviously they want to supervise. Well, I keep a close eye on Kafka, for obvious reasons, because they know how much of he can be an asset, but he can also be a major threat as well. Because if Kafka loses control again, and they will, like they said, like they will end up eliminating him if it comes to that.
I just find it funny how, like, I mean, the series obviously, like, my only real criticism of the series so far is that it's fairly derivative of a lot of other things. I mean, obviously like kaiju stuff, but the main thing is kind of like I definitely noticed, like, I mean, obviously there's elements of like Attack on Titan with the Kaiju Defense Force, but also with Kafka's character arc to an extent. Not exactly his character, but just like what happens with him, like with Eren from season 1 of Attack on Titan, of how he became a Titan shifter, and then they had to basically like try to keep a watch over him and make sure he didn't lose control. Like, it's kind of what's currently seems to be going on with Kafka.
Yeah, but I don't think, like, the only main difference between Kafka and
well,
Eren
obviously
is
they're like completely different characters, but it's just that idea, I guess, of them like being, like Kafka being able to turn into a kaiju, Eren being able to turn into a Titan, and then like at first like it was kind of like a secret, and then they find out about it, and they're like, okay, we have to figure out what to do with him, and we have to try to keep a watch over him and make sure he doesn't lose control and kill everybody.
I mean, well, the whole thing with Eren being a Titan wasn't really much of a secret.
Well,
like, he didn't know.
Oh yeah,
at
of
the
course,
time.
but I mean,
And
they didn't know until like, well, I'm fairly early on. I mean, they find out, that he is a Titan shifter. Same with Kafka. I mean, I kind of thought that with Kaiju number 8 that they might actually try to keep it a secret for a little bit longer in the series until everybody found out. But I mean, obviously they find out pretty early on that Kafka is, it can turn into a kaiju.
Yeah, I mean, it was more or less like an end of season 1 sort of deal, which I guess it was more of a fitting way to reveal that to a lot of his teammates by the end of the season. I mean, eventually it was going to happen one way or another eventually. But yeah, now we're seeing the consequences of what's happening with Kafka now that everybody else knows that he can transform into a kaiju.
Yeah, but I don't really have anything else to say about the episode, though. I don't know if you have anything else to say about
it. It was a decent return to the series. Like, it's pretty slow, obviously, because they just wanted to catch us up on a lot of the main characters again. It's just a little disappointing that we don't know what's going on with Kaiju number 9. What he's planning. Possibly he could be responsible for that giant sinkhole by the end of the episode, but we'll have to see where that goes from there.
Yeah. So that all being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.